What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time.
Do you ever have to read the shit at the beginning of the meeting, and then you get to the part where everybody repeats what you say? And do you ever fuck with them a little bit and do it at a different speed so they're all off from you?
No, what do you mean? Like when they go like
like if he were sought and everybody says it all together.
Oh, and so you speed it up.
You do the preamble,
yeah,
and how it works, yeah, and they were like blah blah blah. If he were sought, and then I'll be like, if he were sought, or if he were sought.
No.
Like I fuck with sometimes, not every time. It's if I'm feeling spicy in the meeting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what our countdown reminded me of.
Spicy countdown.
Yo, I'm feeling spicy in this AA meeting.
No, I try to be as concise and quick with it all, because most of the people, like, it's not a lot of new people.
Nah, so, they're all looking at their phones and.
Right, yeah. So it's a bunch of people who know what the fuck's up, and they're just kind of like, let's get to the stuff that I came here for. So.
Right, or they're like, damn, did I feed the cat? Like.
People are getting up and taking a piss and getting coffee,
right?
And like getting settled in, and still digging around the donut box with their grubby hands, and
yeah. And I'm over here like. We're alcoholic and no fucking,
should we leave this part in about the AA meeting?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, somebody out there will think it's funny. We're not promoting it in any way.
Obviously not.
About our shared experience.
Yes. I just don't like it when people want to like split a donut with me, dude.
I'll take your donut.
You
maybe I don't know. Are your hands dirty?
That's what I'm saying. I just not that I just don't know where people's hands have been, and so they grab a donut, they rip it in half, and then they want to hand me half. I'm like, man, I'm like, I just always say like it's not on the program today.
Yeah, no, yeah, homeboy tried to share like half a fucking
jelly
Subway
filled or
tuna Sammy.
Oh god,
you want half of this Sammy here? You want this Sammy?
Oh,
it's tuna.
No.
It's tuna. I'm gonna eat it in this hot room. There's never donuts or Sammys at any of my meetings.
Oh, I tell you, we got those
loud candy. That's about it.
You got to bring them. You should bring to the meeting what you don't,
I'm nodding no.
No,
no, dude. I don't even drink the coffee there anymore. I like it, but I just have my own coffee. I bring my own brand.
Yeah, I bring my own coffee now these days too. Well, because they canceled the styrofoam cups and they're trying to be as sustainable as possible. But
right.
If you haven't guessed already, you're tuned in to the A is for Alcoholic podcast.
Right. That was our preamble.
Yes. And this is how it works. You listen to us ramble on, A to Z. We pick a topic. We go from there. Thank you to all of our patrons on Patreon.
Absolutely.
Our sibling podcasts, Rashida and John, I do with my girlfriend. And Gluten is not your problem with our friend Walter, who has plenty of strange things. It's not really sibling podcast. It's a network of podcasts. It's a
network. I'd say a network, right?
A network of podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend and I talk about our health and wellness, and Walter talks about weird food
stuff.
Food stuff. But I had to take him to the grocery store because he was really sick. And he buys groceries like a fucking 60-year-old man. It was like white bread, gallon of orange juice, NyQuil, and he like spent like, I don't know, 20 minutes in the soup aisle, just like, where's the regular? I just need the chicken noodle. I was like, what about this one? He's like,
Campbell's part. See, I'm already losing patience with him. I would have totally. You're a good friend. I lose patience with him. I'd just be like, it's the fucking white and red. It's the Campbells, dude. I'm gonna be over here, man, because I'm gonna make you sicker.
No, I just kind of walked up the road or up the aisle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so go listen to those podcasts. Check us out. Patreon.com/AIFA. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And we do have Twitter, although I got to tell you, I don't really do the Twitter thing too much. I think it's all connected, but I don't know. Are you on Twitter? You're not on Twitter, are you?
Nope. No Twitter, no Facebook, just Instagram for work.
Right.
And if I didn't need Instagram for work, I'd be out, son. I wouldn't do that either.
How would I know what you were doing?
I don't care. I like the way our friend Coda does it. He's got nothing, man. He's
nothing.
probably just living the life of Riley out there golfing and fishing and wearing those tight pants.
Got to
dude.
send him a
Just-
postcard?
Yeah, he probably doesn't even listen to this. He doesn't do any of this shit.
No. He told me he just recently got like a brand new phone. He's had probably the same Nokia or like he probably had the same Razor since 2006.
Well, he told me it's because he was selling guitars on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was fucking around. It turns out he really was. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. From a guy who has no social media, that's great.
If you're interested in guitars, it's reverb.com and his company is called Too Many Guitars, TWO, Too Many Guitars, because it's him and his dad that sell the guitars. You like that?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up now.
But I believe it's reverb.com, and so he refurbishes guitars and sells them. Too Many Guitars, in case anybody out there's looking for a fresh axe.
Yeah,
Is that
made by a good friend of ours.
Mm-hmm. Who's also sober bro, sober dude, sober pal.
So, bro.
So we're at letter I, and I is
I.
for identity. Originally, and I wanted to kind of talk about this on the podcast a little bit because I think it's important. Originally, I was thinking it would be like insult to injury because I kind of was making fun of Jerry online. Can we talk about
Man,
this?
yeah, we could talk about that, but that would have been a boring podcast that I got butt hurt for half a minute.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I don't think it would require a whole podcast, but so
Nah.
for those of you who have been following us, and I know there's a few of you out there, one of the big things that often comes later in recovery, at least it did for me and it did for Jerry, is getting your fitness together and getting your health and getting your physical recovery, because alcohol takes a toll on the body. And so Jerry's done a fucking 180 in like the last year and a half now.
About since April of 2018, so yeah.
But in April 2018, between then and like the fall, you lost like 50 or 60 pounds.
50 pounds.
50 pounds.
I'm about 45, 50 pounds right now because I like fluctuate, but
The point is that he
besides the point, yeah.
made a dramatic change, and he looks great. And so maybe do you want to explain the day that you posted the picture? And
No, man, I had worked out and I take pictures of myself for my Fitness Pal, right? Because it'll tell you like weigh yourself. And so what I like to do is take pictures of myself to compare myself to back then. It's also inspiring to go, wow, here's me at like 200, 205, because I was fluctuating between 210 and 200. So my official weight when I started was like 200 about.
Mm-hmm.
So like here's me at 200 and here's me at like 150 or 148, because I fluctuate now between 148 and 154. It's a big fluctuation, but I eat a lot of salty shit. But so I took these pictures of myself in the mirror like after I'd worked out, and I was like, for my app, and I was like, damn, I look good. So I put like just in my Instagram story, and then John's like, pull your pants up or something.
I said, pull your pants up, man. You showed your dick root.
Showing off your dick root. And I was like, dick root? And so you sent me that Rogan video.
And they were
And
cracking
Rogan's
on
like,
some dude.
The only reason guy got his dick root out is because girls want to fuck him. And I was like, nah, dude, I don't feel that way. I just wear my pants really low anyway because I was a teenager in the 90s and it's a hard habit to break.
So I felt really guilty because
So I like erased the picture, right?
Yeah.
Because I also knew I was going to get shit for it at work because these guys at work always because I've done it like maybe 4 times. And they all act like I do it every fucking week. And I've literally, since I've lost weight,
Right.
I can go back and it's been, I don't know, about 3-4 times, right?
Yeah.
But enough that these guys at work are like, you're fucking gross, right? Like, you're gross for doing that. Like, maybe I make them feel secretly gay or they're attracted to me, and there's nothing wrong with being gay. I'm just saying, like, maybe you see me and you're like, damn, I want to kiss Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, no, because I'm married.
So
I don't know.
Well,
And,
for me, so then I felt guilty. I thought, oh, he put this picture up. You put this picture up. I made fun of you, and then you took it down. And I was like, oh man. I was like, all like, well, I gotta say something. So I sent him this long text message, and I was like, I'm really sorry, man. Like, there's no reason for me to be rude or mean, and like, I really am. I'm coming from a place of envy, you know, because
Right.
I've been working, you know, just as hard in the last year, but I also have twice as much weight to lose. So I'm not even going to look like that. I'm never going to look like that because I'm going to look like me, right? So it's,
Right.
so the whole thing was I just felt really guilty, and I was jealous and envious, and I apologized. And he's like, well, I appreciate that, but that was a very little part of why I was going to take it down, if at all. And it was
it was
just this-
preemptive. I took it down so they wouldn't fuck with me at work. And then they fucked with me at work anyway. So I was like, damn, they all see it. They all saw it. But it's really funny because I had noticed the shift change in our friendship, right? Whereas in the past, and we do a lot of this comparative stuff on this podcast because I think it's really healthy for us to see how it used to be so that we don't go back to how it used to be. But in the past, we would have had a disagreement. We would have yelled at each other and it would have gotten ugly, and then we wouldn't have talked for a couple weeks, you know, or a week or something. And now the way we communicate with each other, you're straight up honest, which is kind of eye opening to me because I was like, damn, that's great. Like, you're making progress as a person because you were completely honest. Like, I wasn't just fucking with you because we're friends and that's what we do. You know, apparently we're put in this masculine role where we gotta fuck with each other all the time, which I always think is stupid. We should be supporting each other as friends, you know? Not just you. I just mean with every male relationship I have is like that. You know, we just talk shit to each other, but the fact that you were like, this is the root of why I was feeling this way, I was like, damn, dude, are we being hella mature right now? It's weird. Like,
it's just
because then I explained to you how I was feeling about it. I was just like, nah, man, this is all damage control. I feel really insecure about it, which is weird for me to be insecure about making myself feel better. You know, it's just, I don't know, man.
I just was like,
Identity.
Identity. I felt envious and I felt jealous, and I was like, I want to be there. And you know, things are changing so much and so quickly, like quicker than I think that I realize for myself, and I see it in you. And
Right.
but yeah, but part of my recovery is catching those things when I do something shitty or bad, or that makes somebody, you know, something that I don't feel good about, catching
Right.
it, finding what my part in it was,
Right.
and like what made me feel bad. And it was like, oh, and then realizing like, I don't need to feel bad about this. It's just, I'm doing a different thing.
Right. And part of my recovery was seeing where my insecurities lie, you know, and going into the root of it and being like, you know, I got fucked with constantly as a kid. I got bullied. I got teased. I doubted myself constantly. I had still don't have the greatest of self-esteem. So, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm always really guarded about that. Like, people give me compliments, and especially if I'm at work, I kind of brush them off because I get nervous that if someone's putting the spotlight on me and saying you're doing good, then someone else is going to fucking knock me down and just put me down a peg or two because they're feeling unhappy about themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I'm even in my normal life, I'm constantly guarded. You know, my wife will be like, you're so handsome. And I'm like, oh, you think so, huh? You know, it's never like a thank you or anything because I'm always worried that some asshole's going to fucking run in out of the corner and be like, you're still a fucking cunt, Jerry, and run away, you know? Like, I've always...
I think most of those people are fucking sitting on bar stools still, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but it's just mine comes from this place of like real deep insecurity. You know, my whole life it's been like that though. That's why I've always been like the guy in the group who's like, I gotta wear a fedora. You know,
It's you find an
You know.
affectation that
yes, exactly.
that you use
yeah.
as I don't know, as protection or something,
I don't know.
or
Just like, look at this level of my uniqueness that no one here has, you know? Like, so my uniqueness will make me feel so much better about my insecurities about who I am or what I do, you know? So it's weird. Like, we both learned some shit from this weird moment between us that was like, really, I was just really fucking tired and just like took it way too personal and was also like being really preemptive about like keeping my feelings in check, you know, because I feel like I'm surrounded by people who are just not into being honest with how they feel about shit, you know. But that's fine. I mean, those people have their own fucking shit they got to contend with, you know. I just got to stay in my lane. Just
stay in your lane, and
So, apology accepted. Don't ever talk shit about me again.
Yes. Absolutely not.
God damn it.
But it was, yeah, you're right. It was this moment that was like really seemingly insignificant that was very significant for both of us. So
well, we learned some shit, and now we're here doing a podcast. So we're good. Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel good.
I feel good. It's been a good week. Happy Labor Day. We're recording this on Labor Day. I hope everybody enjoyed their 3-day weekend by the time you hear this. Identity, and what do I mean by identity? You know, when we label ourselves alcoholics, when I label myself an alcoholic, it's like the way that it was taught to me was, you know, this is something you come to on your own. There's no medical diagnosis. I didn't take a blood test and they told me. And, you know, I think that some of the newer science, and your dad mentioned this, that it is a physiological, or, you know, it's a physiological problem. It's like down to the DNA in the way that we process alcohol. I don't know all the science, but I believe that's what he was talking about last time. But that we come to this diagnosis on our own. At least, you know, that's how I've found it, and I believe that's how you found it. You're like, well, I'm an alcoholic. Nobody had to tell me. Well, people have been telling me all my life, or a lot of my life, but for me to accept it as who I am. And so it's hard when people question. They're like, well, am I an alcoholic? Like, I used to call you when I was drinking. And I'd be like, Jerry, am I an alcoholic? And you're like...
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. But if I was somebody you didn't know as well, you probably wouldn't have said... I don't know what you would have said.
Right.
But,
and I would have told you, too. I'm like, you know, that's not for me to diagnose you, dude. Like, you live in your own house. I don't live in your house.
Yeah. So, you know... I think that was a big thing. And when I finally said, okay, I'm an alcoholic, and I'd said it a lot when I was drunk, but it was more of like this sort of declaration of leave me alone and leave me be, and this is just how I am, like some fucking mad king running around the fucking palace, you know. I'm an alcoholic and get out of my way and bring me more whiskey, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So
like what's his name at the end of There Will Be Blood?
No, what was his name? Not Elwood P. Dowd. That's Harvey. That's another. We should do that movie.
Oh, H.W.
H.W.
Anyway, yeah.
So there's lots of different quizzes that you can take online, and some of them are short and some of them are long. And I went through a few of them, and I passed them all with flying colors. One of them was I went through the list, and then at the end of it was like, you are at severe risk in big letters. and I did it from the perspective of me still drinking, right? And I was like, Jesus. And I was like, yeah, of course I knew it going into it. But when I was drinking, there was a huge level, there were blinders put on. I had a huge level of ignorance about a lot of this stuff, that if you had asked me, like, hey, do you drink alone? Hey, do you drink more than, 4 days a week? Do you not remember things that you did when you were drinking? And I would have been like, yes. But I would have also had a caveat or a justification like, oh, that's just normal. That's just the way it is.
Right. That's the way heavy drinkers drink. I did a couple of those tests while I was drinking. Drunk in bed, laying there doing them on my phone, going, oh, no.
And that's
this shit is wrong.
And that's as far as you got?
Yeah, oh no. And then immediately it was like, this is all off. They don't know me.
So this test, and I want to go through the answers, kind of quickly and talk about it. But this is the MAST, the Masked Alcohol Assessment Quiz, done. I got this from therecoveryvillage.com, and I thought it was a pretty good one. I think we'll just go through. And do you feel like you are a normal drinker? Did you, Jerry?
No.
Me neither. Absolutely not.
No, because normal
Yeah,
normal
please.
Normal drinkers drink on Friday night and on Saturday night, And normal drinkers work really hard for 5 days a week in a shitty office cubicle job and listen to fucking Britney Spears and have normal, boring top 40 lives. And then they go to the bars and they bridge and tunnel that shit on Friday and Saturday. I was not normal. I drank on Monday through Monday.
In the Monday through Monday in the afternoon.
Yeah. In the afternoon in a bar in the dark. And we avoided the bars. I avoided the bars on the weekends because I didn't want to be around normal drinkers.
And
Yeah.
it was always best to find some place that was quiet and Dude. I always went early or stayed too late and
Normal drinkers were fucking amateurs.
right.
And I don't need any of your fucking out of the fucking grass league shit in my way. Get out of my way. Yeah.
Have you ever woke up in the morning after drinking the night before and found that you could not remember a part of the evening?
Well, yeah, aren't you? That's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Exactly. That was like, yeah, well, that's the goal. That was always the
Right.
goal, was to black out, man.
See, I'm telling you, these tests are wrong. They're wrong.
Do any of your close relatives or friends worry or complain about your drinking? Yes.
Yeah.
They did all the
Yeah.
time. I mean,
Yeah.
and maybe not in so many words, but I or people would just stop coming around. That was another thing.
My sister would have secret like mafia family meetings with my mom. Be like, "What do we do about Jerry's drinking?"
And she would
We
say,
need to have an intervention, and my mom would be like, "He needs to hit his own bottom. Like us putting him in a hotel room in a Holiday Inn is not going to make him stop drinking."
can you, I should do this in the past tense, but can you stop drinking without difficulty after one or two drinks?
No. Can I stop drinking? Could I stop drinking without?
Could you
No,
stop?
it was
No.
difficult. No, because the itch was there. The itch got stronger. Isn't that weird? When you tried to scratch that itch, that craving, it would like catch fire. It was
Yeah.
so fucking weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just do that excitement, and then you're like, and then you want to chase that buzz, right? You're just trying to
Right.
catch that buzz, and you're like, ooh, that feels the tingly and the warm, and all the way down to my fingers and my fucking toes sometimes. And you're like, all
Right.
right, I'm
I
back.
didn't realize the stacking effect of alcohol, right? Like the way it's stacked up on itself. For the longest time, I was so ignorant because to me, I was like, I have this perfect drunk buzz. I'm perfect. So now I need to keep drinking the entire night to carry this buzz straight through the night. And it would just like stack up and I'd get drunker and drunker and drunker. And then that was in the beginning. And then by the time I, quit drinking, got sober, I just wanted to get to the point where I had stacked it all up,
It's
Yeah.
too much. Did you ever feel guilty about your drinking?
Yeah,
Yes.
dude, that was like regular shit. Who doesn't do that?
Yeah, that was it
Yeah.
was constantly. I felt guilty about even by myself feeling like, oh man, I just drank all 6 of those beers and that half bottle of Stoli. I'd feel guilty that I didn't get enough booze, right? I'd be like, God damn
Right.
it, like. So this is an interesting one. Have you ever attended a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous while you were drunk or while you were drinking? Did you ever? No. I did that one time where I made the cab driver drive me to
Right?
So yeah, I've told the story before, but I'll be quick about it. I'd been up. One of the things I would do on my weekends is I would stay up until like 8 in the morning drinking. Like I would get off work at like 11 or 12 at night, and I would get booze, and I would just stay up, and I would drink, and I would smoke cigarettes, and I would try to write poetry, like shitty Bukowski poetry on my laptop, and I would watch movies, and I would listen to music, and I would like talk to people on the phone, whoever would be up and listen to me. Usually there was like a couple people who were drunk too, and whatever. But at one point there was nobody to talk to, so I called an AA hotline. And I talked to this guy for like an hour, and Jesus, he was very sweet and very patient. And then finally I went to an AA meeting at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I had the cabbie drive me there. And I said, look, you need to wait here. And I gave her like $50 to just wait in the parking lot because I wanted to make sure that I could get out of there whenever I wanted to. Like I felt like I was going to fucking be, I don't know.
Did you make the whole meeting or no?
I feel like I did. Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, it was one of those. Yeah, the purple haze.
I was very
like you're just
hazy.
hazing it. Yeah.
But it was very hazy because I had been drinking for like 8 hours, and then I went.
Damn.
So I would, I clicked yes on that one. Have you ever gotten into physical fights when drinking? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, dude. Of course. Once again, that's why you drank, so you could go fight people.
Right.
Or I did.
That's part of that whole like strongman Bukowski test your metal kind of drinking.
Right.
Has drinking ever created problems between you and a near relative or close friend? Well, yes, that was par for the
Yeah.
course.
Right. Mostly friends, relatives every once in a while. But I'd get into it with my sister Faith, but everybody else just kind of left me alone.
Has any family member or close friend gone to anyone for help about your drinking?
Right,
You just
yeah,
said
my-
your sister. Yeah.
Probably both of them, I imagine, but I don't know.
Have you ever lost friends because of your drinking? Have you
I've lost girlfriends.
Yeah, I don't know if they mean if
guess
people died, but or because of my drinking. Oh yes. Have I lost friends because of my drinking?
Like people stop being friends with you?
Yeah.
No, because all my friends were drunks.
This
Do you know
is a
what I'm
very good
saying? Like
point.
I
Yeah.
surrounded myself with drunks, so I was like didn't have to worry about like. And if I lost any of you guys would come back in a month, couple weeks.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah,
because we had
You'd be
nobody
like,
else to
well,
hang out with either.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to hang out with our drunk fucking asses because we were doing, we were being fucking loaded all the time.
There were a few people. There was a couple people I remember. Our friend, my friend Will, our friend Will, and he would call me all the time to want to do stuff before work, but I was always too hungover, and he eventually just stopped calling, and we didn't hang out as much. But
Right.
I mean, that kind of shit would happen all the time. Have you ever gotten into trouble at work because of drinking? Yes.
Yeah. Hangovers, definitely.
Yeah.
Like calling in constantly hungover. Yeah.
I had my boss, who was a good friend of mine, one time, like, have to sit me down, and he's like, I'm not going to try and tell you how to live your life, dude, but you've got to get a handle on it, whatever you got going on, because the way you behave. Because we got drunk, and we, like, stormed into the restaurant, like, right before they closed and tried to order a bunch of fucking French fries and whatever, and it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. I think I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Have you ever lost a job because of drinking? Hell
No.
yeah. Oh.
Not me. I haven't.
I lost that job at Coffee Corner after I got
I
got
guess you
promoted to
did.
your position. I was a dishwasher and Jerry was the prep guy, and then he left and I got that job, and I would go out drinking with the manager, and then Jerry came back to town, and I remember like I was so drunk, and I was young, so I was like 20 or 21, so I could drink a lot.
You're like 21.
But
yeah.
I was so drunk I couldn't wake up to be at my shift at 9 a.m. And they called Jerry and they're like, "Hey man, you still want your job?" You're like, "Yep, I'll be there." And that's when I got the call. And
I was drinking with you. I was at your house. I went home and changed.
It took my job because he
Tough break, Johnny.
Have you ever neglected your obligations, your family or your work for 2 or more days in a row because you were drinking?
Yes.
Easily.
Yes. You should just put yes to every single question. I mean, yeah.
Do you drink before noon fairly often?
Near the end, yes.
I would,
but not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
about often, but I mean, I would always.
What is often here? There's no designation. Look at these justifications I'm making.
See?
I'm literally making justifications
know.
right now. This is fucked up.
I'm like, define often. Is it
often? 3 days? 4 days?
'Cause that's the
it's like
thing,
3
is
days
like-
a week. 3 days a week.
Is
I would
that
drink
not
before
that
noon.
often? Is it? It's like I don't know. Ask my
More than
fucking-
like my wife.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
or like the rest. A lot of people out
And be
there.
like, well, does the weekend? Do the weekends count? You know?
Yeah, because of course you can drink before noon on a Sunday.
Have you ever been told you have liver trouble, such as cirrhosis? I've never been diagnosed.
Nah.
I don't think so.
No, because I didn't go to the doctor because I was afraid they were going to tell me that, so I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever, after heavy drinking, have you ever had DTs, delirium tremens, severe shaking,
yeah.
visual or auditory hallucinations?
Not severe, but severe enough it made me anxious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not severe enough that I was like, you know.
I've had some pretty shaky mornings where
I've
thought,
been shivery as fuck, dude, and I'm like, oh, this is just low blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the blood sugar that was cured by a shot. How weird, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to anyone for help about your drinking? I mean, I guess I did with that meeting, but it didn't stick.
I don't know, man. I've called people crying while I was drinking, wanting to know what I should do, and they'd say quit drinking, and then I'd hang up.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. Oh, I mean, I didn't know what to do, and I would say, "What do I do?" But I would never say the magic words like, "How do I stop?"
That's a big difference, huh? Not like what going from what do I do, thinking
To
that
how do
there's
I
some
stop?
external answer to this. Like if I just do this one thing, I can continue on this path of drinking.
Right, like quitting drinking is not the option here. What else do I do that is not the option? How do I fix my life that seems to be fucked up every time I get fucked up without not getting fucked up? That's a goddamn pretzel right there, dude.
Yeah, wanting to drink normally, right? In some capacity. Or wanting to
Right.
I wanted to it's not that I wanted to drink normally. I wanted to drink the way that I was drinking without consequences.
Right, like in a vacuum.
Without
Right,
anybody around.
because drinking normally means you don't get fucked up all the time. There's no release. There's no sweet release. You don't get to float around in space anymore. You just have to have a glass of wine and be like, "That's enough for me. I'm flushed." You know, like no, that I didn't want that. I wanted what you said. That's so funny because I absolutely wanted what you said. The way to continue drinking the way I was drinking without
The consequences.
anybody else
Yeah.
around or having to pee blood or throw up or
I
crash
think
a car.
yeah, I think that too is like when I said that to myself, like without any consequences, and like that's I feel like when the isolation started because it was just okay. Well, I can minimize the consequences without having to minimize the consumption, you know. And so I would just like I would hide away or be off by myself. I would I ended my drinking career with a bottle of vodka under my bed.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
have you ever been hospitalized because of your drinking?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I don't think that I have. I think that I stayed out of the hospital. I've been called to the hospital because of my friends drinking, but
Right. And you showed up drunk to
and
the
I showed
hospital,
up.
I
Yeah.
bet.
But no, I've never been in the hospital.
Yeah. I've broken things. I've
Mm-hmm.
cut things. I've been hurt pretty bad a few times. Drunk.
Has your drinking ever resulted in your being hospitalized in a psychiatric ward?
No.
No.
Surprisingly enough. No, I just did that on my own sober.
Nice. Nice. And that was very early. Like that you were
I was
very
like
young.
a kid, dude. Yeah.
Have you ever gone to any doctor, social worker, clergyman, or mental health clinic to help with any emotional problems in which drinking was a part of the problem?
Yes.
I would have to say yes.
Yeah.
I went to. I feel like there was that one time I went to therapy for a very brief period, but it was because the girl that I was with wanted me to go, and she was concerned that I had, like, she found some pornos. And she didn't like that there was pornos in the house, and she thought I had a problem. And
That I remember that, and that was
so
weird, man.
That was like, and there may have
That was weird, man.
there were a lot of problems. I think that might have been, if that was on the list, that was like the very fucking last one on the list.
Was that the porno was the straw that broke the camel's back? She's
Right,
like,
yeah.
these fucking Fun Bag Mountain is gonna kill us.
No, I mean it was.
But I remember you and that person, and whatever, that person's got their own journey in life or whatever. But I remember being like, that's the thing. Like, not all the other wild shit he's been doing. This is the thing right here. Like, not
Right.
the.
And so I never went to therapy under the right circumstances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't for
Well,
myself.
it seems like you were forced.
I was
because-
forced, and I just felt I was really young, and I felt
Or
guilty all
coerced.
the time, and I was coerced, and I felt like I had to please this person because that was part of my whole thing, was having to please everybody, and so I have to make this person happy, so I'll do this thing, and so I didn't really get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Have you been arrested more than once for driving under the influence of alcohol?
No, haha. Because
Jerry avoided that. Yeah.
I rode a bike, but I never got at Dewey's for being on a bike or being in a cab.
I should
I've
have.
definitely ruined a few cab drivers' nights. That's for sure.
I should have been arrested a few times for driving
Yeah.
drunk, at least.
I should have been arrested for being your passenger.
I think this is the last one. Have you ever been arrested even for a few hours because of other behavior while drinking?
Yes.
I've never been arrested.
Yeah. For graffiti, though. Also, I was really young. I was like 18, 19. graffiti, malt liquor and graffiti.
And you got arrested, but did you
Yeah.
stay? Did you stay in? Were you in jail or just
Uh,
detained?
I got cited the first night, and then a couple days later they came and grabbed me and detained me to question me about a non-related thing. That was also graffiti, but it wasn't to that night. That night I got cited, and then they came into the apartment, and I think the cops were like, "We don't want to deal with any of this shit. Here's your summons." And then a couple days later, the graffiti stuff again. It was a different cop, and this guy was a detective. And yeah, because we were talking about a lot of graffiti. But I was drunk when I did it, so it counts. And I sat in the jail with him for like 8 fucking hours, dude. Which is nothing compared to probably even what podcast listeners, some of them are probably like 8 hours. Shit.
Like that's nothing, right? I mean, we have a mutual friend who has spent days, yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories, so I mean that's nothing.
Yeah.
So
but still, though, it answers the question. Yes.
So our total score was 18 out of 22.
Yeah.
And your score is 18, indicating that you have a drinking problem and should seek treatment. So
what's my prize? Is it some airplane bottles or something?
Right.
Right.
So I think we joke, because we, I don't know, because we're insecure.
Because I'm inappropriate.
Yes, we're inappropriate and insecure. But I think that these tests are, I don't know, man. Like, identity is a trippy thing, and so this is just a little, kind of gives you a guideline about, or gives, I wish I would have taken this, but it kind of at least opens up your mind a little bit to the question of whether or not something is normal and something is good and something is bad, and should I be doing this? Because when we talk about identifying ourselves as alcoholics, there's some questions these days. And again, your father, who's done a lot more research than I have, was talking about how, well, we shouldn't maybe call ourselves alcoholics. It should be like, I have a alcohol abuse disorder or something like that, right?
Alcohol, but I'm in long-term recovery.
Or I'm in long-term recovery, right? Because that doesn't have the same stigma that alcoholic does.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? Because I know that you're just
no, go ahead.
Just
Continue.
because you say I'm an alcoholic, and I think that sometimes I say it. I'm very proud of the work that I've done, right? And so I don't mind saying I'm a recovering alcoholic. I don't have a problem with that word as as some sort of. I've said it at job interviews,
Right.
where I'm like, I don't drink anymore. I'm in a program. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And that's usually the way I end it after everything's gone really smoothly in the job interview. And I go, one more thing, just so you know. So I don't really have a problem with the term alcoholic. It doesn't.
Nah, neither do I.
I guess because I've also used it to describe myself in the past. And so it's not like I don't think I was ever trying to hide my drinking. Well, let me rephrase that. I was fine. There was lots of times that I hid drinking, but there was plenty of times that I was very open about how much I drank. So so the word alcoholic doesn't bother me, because in my mind, in my heart, it's a recovering alcoholic and that long-term recovery.
Right. Because they think, well, you have to. I mean, I would have to. There's a few things I'm trying to get out, because there's a couple things that are trying to get out at once with this, with the term alcoholic, right? And I think initially when you're trying to explain it to a person who may not have that relationship with alcohol that you had, it conjures up your rock bottom. Of course, I've said that before, because straight, I don't know a term for a person who's a let's just say non-alcoholic, right? Like, for a non-alcoholic, they see that and they immediately think of you at your worst. Because me, as an alcoholic, I meet other recovering alcoholics and I think of them at their worst. I do. It's just my fucking habit. It's just a person in me, right? So I also got a lot of pushback. I still do sometimes, and it makes me kind of laugh now. It used to kind of insult me, where people will correct me and they'd say, no, you were an alcoholic, right? like, oh no, you were, and you're fine now. And I that correction always, it used to bristle, but now I think it's just kind of funny because the condition to me still remains regardless of whether or not I'm imbibing alcohol, right? Because if I like, you can become physically addicted to alcohol. Absolutely. Anybody out there can. If you give a person enough alcohol, they'll become physically addicted. Then you take that flow of alcohol away, they'll go through a withdrawal period. And then typically if we're talking about this like science test, right? Or this science experiment, you take that alcohol away, they go through physical withdrawal, and then they're okay after a while. There's no mental or emotional or psychological craving that happens. There may be for a brief period of time, but then it's business as usual, you know? And I feel like part of my quote unquote terminal uniqueness or whatever it is that makes me different is that I still, even after years of abstinence from alcohol, still will get cravings every once in a while. Do you know what I mean? And it'll just come up out of nowhere. So this condition persists on my end, you know? So that's the term I use for myself, you know?
You haven't.
That's how I identify.
Right. You haven't graduated from it. You don't get to.
I haven't. And, you know, I hear people all the time early in the meeting say my obsession has been lifted. And I thought that was fucking crazy. I'm like, what do you mean your obsession is? Why are you even here then? What are we even doing here then? You know? And now I realize that they meant I can't assume, but in my mind, when I feel like my obsession has been lifted, it has in the short term, in the sense that like it no longer is this constant force in my life that I need to reckon with constantly and make special, like just I don't know, just make special in my life, like make other things, manipulate my life in order to make it part of my life. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's just, you know.
And I think too, I feel a certain sense of like I earned it. Okay, so don't take it from me. Don't you know? And
yeah,
like
dude,
it almost feels like there's a certain level of, because I felt kind of like a pirate before, right? I felt like a fucking like a badass before because I was a fucking hardcore heavy metal pirate, fucking, you know, razor wire, whatever. I could drink more than you, and if
Motorhead.
if I couldn't, I was definitely gonna try, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel kind of the same way in my recovery, although there's a certain level of like I was a raw nerve going into it, and I still am trying to sort through feelings and emotions and fucking psychoses and neuroses and all the things that, you know, just make me human, to make me better, you know. So it's like it's a lot of hard work to sit down and analyze myself and do a little, you know, writing, prayer and meditation and get it not get it right, but get it to the point where I feel good. It's a lot of work, and so I feel very proud of that. And so yeah, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And so
Hi, John.
I don't, yeah, right. So I don't want to take that away. I don't want to. I don't know that I would be comfortable, and I might change my mind to be like, well, I'm in long-term recovery, you know.
Right.
So maybe as more of that ego melts away, or, you know, or my focus shifts on what's important. So yeah, and I
was gonna say it's not a scarlet letter for guys like us. That big A. It's not a big red A. You know, A is for alcoholic. Bam, dude. See, we should sell T-shirts with big red A anyway.
Yes,
making money off this shit. Not at all, but
so
but it's not a scarlet letter for, I would imagine. Well,
but for some,
I would imagine for both of us. For but not for you and I though.
No, we were very. You know? I think we were very open and vocal about our drinking, and it was
right. So why would I be weird and quiet about it now? Not weird, but why would I feel insecure, quiet about it now? Because I fucking let you know, or you would know by the end of the night. If you invited me and my wife over for dinner during my drinking days, you would know by the end of the night. Oh, this guy gets fucked up. You know, like that's his jam.
And so I think maybe too, it's hard for some who are not of the same cut from the same cloth as you and I.
Right.
People
But
who are
when
more reserved,
yeah,
or people
we all
who
come from all walks of life. You know,
Mhm.
everybody. We all come from different places. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I just don't think that anyone. I hope that nobody. And it's hard to say this, but I don't think anybody should be ashamed if they're interested in getting help, if they're interested in changing. Um, that real change can happen, and
Yeah.
my identity has changed so much. I mean, that's another thing that's kind of scary, is just the level of just how different I am. You know, I went to go see. I was trying to sell some comics, and I was going. They're sort of bar related. So my partner does these. You know, a lot of we're
Oh, okay.
bartenders, and
I
so
thought you had like a bunch of old DC comics, like
Like I was
Superman and
going-
shit, and I was like, "Where'd you come up on this shit?" But go
I
ahead.
should really. I have this problem of starting my stories in the middle without explaining everything. So it was some artwork we were working on, and they were like bartender related. And so I know a woman who owns a bar, and I was going in there to. None of this is important to the story. I don't know why I'm going, but here we are.
Yeah, we're here. It's okay. We're taking the scenic route.
So I was like, maybe she could sell them at the bar. They might be funny. People look at them. So I left a couple of them for her to be like, hey, maybe people like this. Maybe you want to sell them. We could, split the profits. And she couldn't believe how much weight I had lost. And and then we're sitting there talking, and she's like, John, it's so weird. I'm looking at you, and I think even your voice has changed. Like, it's different to me than I remember it. And I haven't seen her in a while, but
Yeah.
but identity is such a it can be a very fluid thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who am I? I'm not only an alcoholic. I'm I'm a person who I get excited about, creative projects, whether those things. I'm an artist. I'm a poet, Jerry. I don't know if you know this
You're a
about
poet.
me. I'm a
No.
I'm a bartender. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not just an alcoholic. So I don't know if I'm not making any points right now. I'm just basically saying that my
No, I get where you're coming from, though. You're saying you're the sum of your parts, dude. Like it's not like you just wear the alcoholic moniker and that's it. Like you walk around in your whole life being like, just I'm about that fucking sober life and that's it. You
No.
know what I mean? Like you got a lot of other facets. We both do.
and I think that a lot of people do. Many people do.
I think we all do. Yeah.
I am an athlete, Jerry. I never thought I would say that.
Yeah, isn't that fucking weird? You're an athlete, dude. Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
John Staley, athlete.
Yeah, you are though. You are. I envy the fact you can run without stopping. I do. I'm like, I gotta get there. I want to do that. I want to see how that feels. Apparently, that feels good.
So one of the things that is cool too, and I sidetrack for a second here, is if you find trails that kind of, even if they go up and down, because you get a little more, because you have to be more careful on the trails because of all the fucking rocks. You don't go as fast as far, but it's fine because you're kind of focused. Your mind is like more focused on don't trip and fucking fall. So
Right.
if you can find some like hills and trails and mountains and stuff like that, start like mess around with like kind of doing some short runs in between your hikes. It'll feel more fun and your mind will be more like you won't get bored. You won't just
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I'm out of breath, it's time to stop.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something. Like I did this trail today and I was running up and it was hard and it was hot and I was sweating, but then the downhill is like fun. That's when you get the fun part where you're like, you're kind of just bouncing down the hill. You're like,
You get that Pinocchio shit. You're like, I'm a real boy.
exactly. I'm like on the
I'm
tip
a
of the
real
Titanic.
American boy. Do you remember that real
Yes,
American
real
boy
American
shit? Yeah.
boy.
I'm not even getting into that.
Oh, God.
I'm a real American boy.
So I think that identity is, so for me, it's something that I created. So I did that.
Right.
It didn't happen upon me. It didn't happen to me. I had to create that identity as an athlete. And you say, well, what does that mean? Are you a professional athlete? Like, well, no, I don't get paid for it, but
Oh, but you're an amateur athlete.
Right.
Much more than I imagine other people around you are. You know, other people. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people, I mean, it's just, and it's not something that It's not this thing that we do is not something that normal people do. So fucking be proud of your recovery and that identity. But I guess it's just what I put my mind to. And I know this sounds so fucking corny, and I wish there was a better way to say it, right? But if you put your mind to it, and that's what I did to become an athlete.
Right.
So,
well, and you also have to forgive yourself while you're doing it too, because you're not just gonna and that's the caveat I always tell I use in my life to tell myself. I'm like, you're gonna fuck this up a bunch. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna take time, and you gotta forgive yourself and just keep putting your mind to it over and over again. And then eventually you're like, don't even realize you're doing it, and then you're doing it. Not even just recovery, sobriety. Just I apply that to most anything in my life that I don't give up on too quickly, because I give up on shit all the time. I am amazed that I've been doing this podcast with you this long, to be honest with you. Just because I quit things, like I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. Which is not a foreboding tale. I'm telling you right now that I'm like, yo, I'm gonna fucking bounce out on you in 18 months. I'm sticking to it because I like enjoy doing it. And this is actually one of those things that hasn't been hard or a pain in the ass, other than when the fucking Audacity quits out on us.
Right, right.
And we got to re-record or, but I mean, yeah, I just feel like I just had to keep doing whatever I'm doing, whether it's not drinking or trying to finish a piece of art or working out or whatever it is. Raising a kid, man, that shit is difficult, man. Raising a kid sober? What the fuck? It's a lot of work. It is, right? Yeah, but if I did it drunk, fuck. That would be just the same amount of work, but I'd fuck it all up.
I feel like at a certain point it would be kind of taken out of your hands if you were still trying to do it drunk.
I remember talking to my mom once, right? And I was like, damn, you were so young. My mom was 17 when I was born. I've brought this up before on the podcast. And by the time she was, in her 30s, she had 4 fucking kids. Like, she was, like, in her early 30s, had 4 kids. And I'm like, how did you do it? Dad was always at work, or you were always alone. My dad was around. He was a good cat. I mean, he still is a good cat. And I'm just saying this because they listen to the podcast now. But, no, so I asked my mom, like, how'd you do it? And she's like, I drank. I drank the entire fucking time. That's how I did it, And she's like, it got harder when I stopped drinking, but it also got easier, So it's weird. It's weird to think about it that way, Like, this shit is hard. Have a drink, but you know how we drink. It doesn't work that way.
It's not just
people like us. No, dude.
And I had no problem being an alcoholic when I was drinking. So why the fuck should I now go? Oh well, I'm been whatever it is. I'm not going to feel ashamed of it. Because it was very easy for me to just be like, well, yeah, I drink because I'm an alcoholic. And I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know to what extent. That just basically was my way of saying, leave me alone. I'm not going to argue with you about it. And
I'm going to sit here in my sad hole and cry. Fuck you. This is what I do. Fuck you. I'm an alcoholic. I'm going to sit in my sad hole. But now, even in early recovery, even now, like, I would tell myself, don't be embarrassed about that shit, because you made a fucking change and you made a hard fundamental. You had to fucking grind the gear so hard to turn this car around. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to push everything that was going forward. You had to grab it and pull it back and make it go the opposite way. And that's hard. That's a struggle. And you keep having to do it. And then you just keep working at it. That's what I did. That's what we do. We just keep working at it until it gets a lot easier, So be fucking proud of it. Be proud that you're in recovery, even if it's fucking 48 hours. God damn, that's 48 hours without having a drink. That's a motherfucker. I remember it. It sucked ass, but I still kept doing it. It was rough, dude.
I feel like I can remember that first week of quitting, and just yeah, it was rough, and it hurt, and I just was thinking, if I can just get through this next 7 days, and then I'll be fine, then I can prove to myself that I'm fine, and then I can have a drink. And I didn't. I don't know why I didn't, because I didn't, like, I may have reached out to you. I didn't have anybody. I didn't have any friends in recovery except for you.
No.
And I was not, like, in contact with you hardcore.
I was like 1,000 miles away, or how,
Yeah, and so I don't know why. I mean, there, but I don't know. higher power. I don't know.
Right. You just had to do it at that time, and now you got to keep doing it.
It's true.
That's the thing, right? And I also push back against this idea that it's so fucking tenuous. Like any moment you can get drunk, and I'm like, no, that's not for me. It doesn't work out that way. For me, it works out that I will get drunk if I'm not watching my shit and not maintaining my mental health. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? If I'm not maintaining my mental health and keeping myself realistic and keeping my thoughts realistic and keeping myself grounded and realizing how big I am, then yeah. But I always bristle at those people who show up and tell you, like, you fucking miss one meeting and you're gonna get drunk and die. And I'm like, God, give it a rest, dude. Like, damn, dude, we're not here to scare the shit out of people, dude. This ain't Maury. You know, you're not gonna be scaring these kids straight or whatever. Like, they're having a hard time. Don't scare them more. I meet the new guy or the new girl. Dude, there's something in me. I just wants to hug a motherfucker now. And I'm still the new guy to somebody else, you know, like, but it makes my, like, it really does. It, like, makes me hot in the eyes. I'm like, fuck, you're new. Like, you're going to be all right, you know? Mm-hmm. You're going to be all right. Yeah.
This coming from Jerry. If you listen to, like, one of our earlier episodes, and this is not even that long ago, I'd be like, man, they want to hug me, man. And I just would, like, I don't want to be touched.
Oh, no. I still don't hug them.
Oh, but you
want
want to
hug them now. Dude, baby steps. I'm making baby steps.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a desire to hug them, but I do not. I've made a decision to hug them, but I still haven't hugged them.
I'm not following through with that shit.
Yes.
18 months, let's talk. It takes a minute, dude. Baby steps. No, I don't hug them, but my heart goes out to them. I like pat, shoulder pat.
Yeah.
Or a high five or a fist bump. I'm like, good fucking job. And I just want to show a way to express to them, like, how fucking cool I think that is. You know, like, you are in the process of turning this car around, you know, and that's a bitch, dude. Yeah.
I think
that's hard work.
Fist bump's a good way to go. There's a lot of communicable,
right. Just,
you know.
But yeah, especially off the new person, you know. No, I'm just kidding. That's
but I just think that it's I am amazed at myself and how fluid my identity has been in recovery, about who I am and still trying to figure it out. And
right.
4 years down the road, you know, sober, I still am like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, sometimes I'm like, did I just do that thing, or did I say that, or how am I'm here apologizing to you and fucking running 8 miles up a hill, and, you know.
Yeah, dude, that's weird, man.
I'm gonna go speak at a meeting on Friday because somebody asked me, and I'm like, this is not John, but it is.
And you can do all that shit sober too,
right? Exactly,
crazy, dude. Yeah.
So, it's really like, so I go, okay, John, and I have to remind myself of these things because it's very easy for me to get discouraged, distracted. You know, I've been kind of like in and out of jobs, and I can't, not that I can't hold one, I can't stand a job for long. That's, you know, that's my problem, is I'll be like, well, this doesn't fucking feel good. I'm going to go do something else, and I'm going to go do something else, and I'll just go wait tables at this place until something else shows up. And it's been really discouraging because, and I don't want to get into my particular whining, but, you know, financial insecurity is a real thing. And so, and it's also like identifying as a man who makes money, like that's another thing that I deal with. Well, is my manhood is tied to how much money I make, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's like, what the fuck? And then I go to the grocery store this afternoon, and I was like, because I need to buy groceries. I don't have a lot of money because I haven't been working a lot, and I've got another job that's coming up and whatever. But I had this moment of like, well, I'm cleaning out the car, and there's all this change in the console. So I get a jar, and I fill it up about halfway, and I'm like, I'm gonna go take this change to Safeway. I'm gonna put it in the Coinstar, and there was a certain level of like, shame,
a little embarrassed. Yeah, I've been there.
But you know, like, why should
I've been there, yeah.
And so,
but why though? You're not even buying booze with it. You're getting like cheese.
Yeah.
Not even cheese, knowing you. You're getting like probably
spinach,
quinoa,
almond milk,
and almond milk, right? And a tomato, some yogurt or something.
Right. And so like, but there was this level of shame. Like, I was like, did anybody I know around here? I felt like I was in the liquor aisle, and I didn't want to be caught.
I've done it with Olive when Olive was real little. I need to go again. Actually, I have a jar that's full, but I've done it with her at like 4 or 5, like hanging off my t-shirt and being like, damn, I am the shittiest fucking dad in the world, you know? picking tacks out of the Coinstar so I can get us,
Right.
because it's been so damn slow at the tattoo shop because all of us, anyway, yeah.
And what would be the worst
Yeah.
if I lost the rubber band down there and then I had to call one of the people over to fucking
Right.
fish my coins out of the Coinstar, and like I was just
I'll flip that shit though, because I've been on the Coinstar in Arizona getting that money for whiskey. So
yeah.
I mean, at least this time around, I'm buying fucking bread and peanut butter, for my kid or whatever it is, eggs,
Yeah.
But I've done that Coinstar, taking that voucher with Olive, as like a 2-3-year-old, and bought in a fucking Fifth Evan Williams, They all just
yeah.
look at me like that, and I'm like, you don't even know I'm going down to the res to get a pack of smokes for $4, so I'm good.
So that's another part of my identity that I've been struggling with these days. It's not necessarily connected to the recovery part of it, but it's just like,
Right.
who am I as a man, Jerry? Am I doing enough to make enough money? Am I fucking
You never know. You'll never know. I mean, maybe you'll never know. Maybe when you figure it out, that's when you like die or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you just fuck.
So
You never know. You'll never know. I mean, we'll end on that nice note. No, let's end on a.
you wanna?
upbeat.
Well, I just yeah, I'm not on the Coinstar note, whereas I'm like,
No, where I'm like, I bought whiskey with my baby girl out of the Coinstar. Keep coming back. It works.
So I just think that whatever, what could I say? You are what you say you are. I don't want to end. Is that Eminem? I am whatever you say I am.
Yeah, that is Eminem. Yeah.
I am whatever I say I am. And so I'm I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm an athlete. I'm a writer. I'm a lot of things. But I'm grateful to be here. So,
Yeah.
I don't mean to make it, just sounds a little corny, but it's
I
true.
know. No, it's all right. You're the one feeling corny about it. I'm
Right?
like taking it all, and
But
yeah,
I'm
sincereness,
grateful to be
yeah.
able to do this with you.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot of gratitude here. Same on my end. Yeah.
when I hear from people, and there's this guy, and I'm embarrassed that I didn't even ask his fucking name. Maybe I did. He's a painter out of Texas, and I think it's like Turner Painting TX or something like that on Instagram, and we had this whole long great chat back and forth about it, and he's been listening to us since the beginning, and
Wow.
he loves the show, and he does. I'll send you his link. Like he shows.
Was an artist or a house painter?
He does house painting and like refinishing, and like so he does.
Nice.
He shows a lot of like the.
Well, there's art in that too. House
There's-
painting.
sure.
Pain in the ass.
I was
dude,
gonna
yeah.
say, didn't you just paint a house?
Yeah, I was a house painter for 6 months too. It was fucking rough.
But he shows a lot of the process of it, which is pretty cool. Like there was something about like painting around an outlet, and like it's important to take the front off the outlet, and like don't just be slopping around it with your roller
Paint around it. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm grateful for that kind of stuff, and being able to
Yeah.
know that the shit that we're doing is good. So as a recovering sober podcaster, it's not a bad identity to have.
No, it's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.